name is Esther. Welcome to my channel. If you have been following me on Instagram, you know that I love leather. I have so many leather scents, and I think that we can still nail them in the spring. So I have prepared a selection of leather fragrances for this season. And with no particular order, let's start with Chambre Noire. This is a very soft, suede leather with plum, a little bit of patchouli, uh, violet, a little bit of incense. Though for some people it has a lot of patchouli, to me this is very soft, sort of ambery leather with plum. I really like it. It's so well balanced and wonderful. I wear it on the days when I just want to wear something warm and enveloping. And if we continue with something with a plum note, let's talk about Byredo. This fragrance got me into the house. This is much sweeter than the previous one. So here you have the plum and a peach, more of a jammy kind of a fragrance, you know. This is jammy, sweet plum and a peach with the leather. A little bit of powderiness here as well. The leather here is not, it's not very, you know, sort of rough. There are also some florals in here. Altogether, I think it kind of dries down into slightly powdery, fruity leather scent. You can see the dent in here. I maybe not into gourmands, but this is just a very beautiful leather with fruits. I love it. I actually really like the plum note, and let's talk one more with the plum, shall we? So this from Narciso Rodriguez contains musk, suede, heliotrope, and a plum. It is more musky take on plummy leather. The suede in here is very soft. The plummy notes are very prominent in here, but it's much more elevated and musky. Maybe not as strong as the first creations by the brand, but it kind of gives the idea that it is sort of skin-like musky scent. But I would like to say, you know, be careful with it, because though it seems to be sort of skin scent, if you overdo it, if you overspray, you can actually choke someone. I know that I accidentally have oversprayed it and it's been way too much. So just be careful with it. It's still a Narciso Rodriguez scent, so musk is there. So let's talk about this one. This fragrance, I think, is not for everyone, though I love it. In a dry down, you would have a leather with rose in here, but it opens up very punchy. So it opens up with saffron, cassis, and tangerine note. So it opens up fresh, spicy, and the tangerine in here gives it a slightly citrusy but slightly sweet nuance. So I think the sweetness that is in here comes from tangerine. And after the opening, altogether the notes kind of balance out and you get that rose and leather. But the opening notes, though they're not as prominent anymore in the dry down, they're still very noticeable. So if you don't like a cassis note, if you find it to be sort of yucky, if it's not for you, maybe the scent is something you shouldn't look into. Okay, let's talk about this one that also has some fruit. This is a very boozy, mouth-watering apple brandy with leather, saffron, pinch of cinnamon. As the opening kind of settles, I get a little bit of rose petals, and you know, the scent altogether dries down in this very warm ambery base because there's benzoin, there's myrrhe, olibanum, labdanum in here, but it's so boozy and so delicious, and yet it's a leather scent. I find it to be just absolutely wonderful, though all in all, I usually don't go for gourmands. I don't really like boozy scents, but this is so sophisticated. When I first tried it, I thought that this is a scent like a just sunshine or a happy scent in a bottle. And I got a 10 ml travel, and I drank it out so quickly. Seriously, I just fell in love. And look at the dent. I mean, um, you know, I love it so much that it's hard to not overspray. Do you know this? Like, does it happen to you? Because this one and the next one that I'm gonna talk about, these are the fragrances that when I spray, I just can't stop sniffing them. I can't stop. I'm curious. Write in the comments which scents make. Oh my god, it's just such a stunner. Yeah, tell me in the comments which scents are for you like that, because this one, I will describe you from the notes and what I get from it, but seriously, it is so stunning that, on my personal opinion, it's indescribable. I fell in love with this last year at the Suns. It was love at first sniff. It, I think it's very unique. This is a leather with luscious jasmine. There are wild berries that I think give this sort of a little bit of tartness, a little bit of sourness. There's birch and cyproil, which give this leathery nuance to the scent. We have also an incense in here. So for me, it is sour sweet leather with florals and smokiness. I really love this combination of the leather, the smoke, the florals. I mean, it is indescribable. I love it. Oh my god, I just love it so so much. Whenever I wear it, I just can't get enough. It has become my favorite scent on my whole collection. So yeah, I highly encourage you to try it. Let's discuss another one that I fell in love last year at the Suns. This is from Carlotha Ray. This fragrance got me into a osmanthus note. Before that, I didn't like the note. I didn't care for it. Sometimes it gave me headaches. And when I first tried it, I was surprised what sort of notes there is, because there are a bunch of notes in here, and I have noticed that for some people some notes come more prominent than others. People that I have recommended this who like osmanthus have liked it too. It is a stunner. And the bottle, I mean the bottle, the cap is from a wood that's been colored, but it is wonderful. This fragrance I also got first in a travel, and I used it up so quickly. I knew I need a bottle of this. So this is a fragrance that is about osmanthus leather. There is nuances of star anise and licorice. I get a little bit of green apple in here. I get a little bit of mossiness in here. You see, in the notes, we also have oak moss, mate, tea, and juniper. And I wouldn't say that it is very, oak moss scent, but it is osmanthus with some ambery touches, with a little bit of green apple. And I think that oak moss in here, I personally don't like oak moss, but I think that in this fragrance, oak moss gives it a little bit of an edge and maybe some kind of a depth to it. But yes, it is just stunning leather osmanthus scent that I highly recommend. If you like osmanthus, I think you should give it a sniff. They have now released, I think, 2 or 3 new fragrances that I'm really curious about. I have tried 5 from the line. There is one with very citrusy for summer, absolutely delightful. There's also one with white rose, and it is such a translucent white rose fragrance that gives this idea of, it gave me this idea of white rose petals like flying into the air. I think they have a good selection of fragrances. Let's talk about one that is good for days, maybe a chilly evening in a spring, or a day when you're wearing a leather jacket. This is a ambery leather with cardamom. It is so cozy and warm. There's a little bit of patchouli and oak moss, but all in all, it gives this very cozy, warm, sitting by the fireplace kind of a feel. It is not very soft leather, but I think those ambery touches, that cardamom just kind of, curls it up in a blanket kind of a way. It is wonderful. So, what do we have here? Let's talk about this one. I wore it this week a few times, and I got so many compliments. And though I don't really care for the compliments, I think that is just such a good, just tribute to the scent, because it is such a unique creation. So here we have Bouquet of White Lilies, and though I sometimes have headaches from white florals, this is not it. This is not a headache-inducing fragrance, because these florals here are combined with very creamy kind of a butter. There's soft suede in here and a pinch of salt, and there's also this sort of musky and a little bit, there's some kind of greenness in here. I looked it up, and I saw that there's like pear leaf and a mandarin in here. Maybe those give this a touch of green fruity aspect, but all in all, it's very soft suede with florals and this creamy butter that almost give you the idea that you could dig into it with a spoon. It kind of is a little bit gourmandish, but not till the end because it's still a suede and floral, but it is so unique. I haven't tried anything like that. I think it is a stunning creation from the house. Uh, it is from all of these that I'm talking today. I think Blondine and Lil Fleur and Musc Noir are the ones that are more feminine leaning, and rest I think are absolutely unisex. Talking about another sweet one, which is very surprising that I have this, because this was my first Arabic scent. I didn't have any Arabic ones, and it is surprising because usually I don't like super duper sweet scents, and it is a very sweet scent because there is leather in here, but it's accompanied with caramel and honey, and there's apricot, and it is very, very sweet fragrance. But the reason why I still like it is because I get a very fresh rhubarb in here. You know, it brings me back to the time when I would go to a garden and just take rhubarbs and like cut them into pieces and make a pie, you know. And I think that that fresh, sour rhubarb allows this fragrance not to get into complete, overwhelming caramel sweetness. And leather here makes it more interesting and gives it more of a depth. Let's talk about something that is complete opposite from the previous one. This is one of the latest releases from Gravel. It's called Eau Dominance, and I think that the name really, really suits the fragrance. From all of the fragrances in here, I think this is one of those that are more masculine leaning, though completely unisex. This leather here is a little bit more rough than in other scents that I've spoken about, but it's elevated with musk. So what we have in here, in the opening, we have very uplifting pink pepper and bergamot. And then you get more of the leather, I get more of the musk and violet. There's a pinch of salt and a little bit of mandarin in here. It is very classy, refined, and it gives me, you know, more of a formal. I imagine like a lawyer wearing this, or, you know, wearing this with a suit, or I totally can see it on a women and on men equally because I really like these scents. The violet in here is very prominent. So if you like the violet leather combination, I would suggest to try it out. And I think the musk in here kind of elevates the scent so that it doesn't become very heavy, you know, because if I think about like a rough leather and a violet, it can be sort of dry, but here it is just, I don't know, it's just so refined, so wonderful. And yeah, if what I have described is something that you are interested in, try it. The salt gives it an interesting twist also. And the two scents that I have in travels in here are green ones and completely unisex. though it says that it's Mistress Tuberose from Ricardo Ramos. It is completely unisex fragrance. If yes, if you're not into if a guy is not into florals, maybe yeah, then it's not for you. But if you like a tuberose from Frederick Malle, or what was the name of the brand? The Umber Lucas. Gosh, I'm sorry, I can't remember the name, but there was this, bottles that look like snakes. The white one with the tuberose and leather. If you like that, try this one as well. So this fragrance has a lot of notes. I don't know why it doesn't want to be friends with me. So this is a leather with tuberose and green stems. And at first I was like thinking, where did the greenness come from? And I think that the greenness comes from the linden blossom, neroli, and lily of the valley, because the scent kind of opens up floral, green, and very fresh. It kind of gives me this wet greenness idea. When I was writing a review about it, I was describing a snake that is crawling through not crawling, is the word crawling the one? I forgot the word. But like, I imagine a snake in a rainforest. So if you I imagine these huge green leaves of rainforests, I can imagine those leaves to be sort of wet and dewy. So here we have a lot of notes, and there are also like woody notes. There's a little bit of sandalwood in here. There's galbanum that also kind of probably gives this greenness. There is also frankincense and vinyl note. It is interesting combination, but all in all, I personally perceive it as this very green tuberose with leather. It is stunning, and I think I should wear it more often and then get a bigger one. And another one, if you like green fragrances, I recommend trying this one. It is from brand Miskeo, and not sure why doesn't want to focus, but I will tell you about it anyway. So this is a very interesting creation. So here you have suede with green notes, and it opens up very, very fresh, almost watery, with notes of blood orange, clary sage, and jasmine. And as this fragrance settles, I get more of a suede and green notes in here. There's also black pepper and mahogany wood. All in all, to me, this is a very green scent. The frangipani note that's in here, I think it gives it a little bit of creaminess, if I may say, because it never really goes into any beachy scent, but it is tiny bit creamy. So if I think about the scent, what I have in mind is like wearing maybe leather jacket and walking in a meadow, because it's sort of green and herbal and yet leathery and slightly creamy. It's a very unique take. If you like green herbal scents and you don't shy away from leather, I highly encourage you to try it out. It's very interesting. Okay, I think today we have covered everything that I wanted to speak about. I'm very curious to know which of these fragrances you have tried, which you like or maybe you don't like. Also, maybe you have any leather scents that I haven't mentioned, but you could recommend me trying, or not only me, but also others. So I'll be very happy to hear your thoughts. So let's catch up in the comments and see you in the next one. Bye.